Right, candidate flips. So this is certainly something we don't do enough in the business. You know, prior training, Oliver's just mentioned, obviously that's an area that he wanted to improve on. What I want to push is candidate flips, because it's such an easy way of generating new searches, new business, and people who know us. So there's the obvious one which people are most uncomfortable with, which is that initial candidate flip of, right, I'm on the call, it's the first interview, we've already had a press call, how do I flip you into a client? Okay, and how do I help you? What I want to position it around is not around how do I turn you into a client and get something from you as well as potentially working with you. I want to turn it into what service level are we giving these people, right? I know that, so if I was looking for work, that'd be a bit of an issue, but if I was a manager of a team and I also worked in an organisation and I was like, I'm considering leaving, I'm also considering if I don't leave, I still need whatever performance needs to happen underneath me. So just because I'm exploring a different opportunity doesn't mean that I don't need help putting the right people in. And by letting our candidates, who are potentially prospects, therefore clients, work with other recruiters, which we've heard the absolute horror and joy stories of, yeah, we were looking for 12 months, yeah, they never found us anybody, yeah, the candidate left after 2 months, blah, 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 blah. We never received any profiles, we never even heard from the firm again, etc., etc. By letting people in this industry work with the dross and the shit, if you want to put it off, of the recruitment industry, you are not giving the full level of service that you could be to help these people achieve their careers. What's important to them is the development and progression of themselves, their careers, etc., etc. What's not important for them is you. So you positioning that you can help them and giving them that level of service, in addition to also helping them find a position, is what I want to get in that mindset. I'm having this conversation with you about helping you, so I'm going to help you that way, or I'm also going to offer my services to help you a different way. Okay, so it's being on both sides of the coin, but it's the mindset of it that prevents us from asking. It isn't the, oh yeah, well actually no, this is a nice person and I want to help this person and therefore I'll see if I can place them first, and if I can't, I'll never ask them for a candidate flip. Or I'm terrified to ask them because what if they ask me the question, well, why are you asking this? I thought this was about me. The objection training is in there, how to handle that question. Right? It's like when you first start and you ask for salaries and you don't get them. And people are like, well, I don't really want to share a salary. Okay, the reason you're not getting that is not because of who you are, it's not because you've been in the job 5 minutes, it's because you're not asking the question with gravitas. It's because they don't feel that giving that information is valuable. They feel that it's detriment to them, and therefore they feel in a position that they can challenge you. It's exactly the same with a candidate flip. So I wouldn't be doing my job without asking, but as and when I come across superstar profiles, what profiles would you be interested in hearing about? Okay? When we ask it like that, well, I thought this conversation was about me. Well, I didn't realise that. Oh, well, now I feel a bit uneasy about you helping me and helping the firm. You could still get those if you have gravitas, but you'll get certainly significantly less of them. So asking that question from the outset with confidence and always asking it will bring you returns and bring you results. It will build you further relationships, and it'll also open that door. It might not be that they do it now, but it might be they do it in 10 months' time, a year's time, 6 months, 3 months, that they come in and, oh, actually, do you know what? I do actually have a search. I've spoken to a recruiter in the past. Could you help us? You mentioned it before, I wasn't looking for anybody there, but I am looking for someone now. Could you come back into the fold? And it also increases that level of service that you give to that person, because then you're also thinking, could this person be a client in the future? Instead of dropping them an email, will I drop them a call and just say, look, I've had a few conversations, had a few discussions, been proactive, haven't come up with anything of yet, but you are top of my radar. And having that conversation. Yeah? Okay, so what I want you to think about is it's not just candidates that are on the CRM, not just candidates that when you're interviewing them right there and then that you can do this to. So we can also do it to candidates that are already on the CRM right now. So we could do a catch-up call and we could bridge that in. You could do a catch-up call and say, look, I'll keep you posted on opportunities, and then on the second call, if you're more comfortable with it, then asking them that. Look, I've done X, Y, and Z, I've reached out, I can't find anything at the moment, but if you do come across anything, then X, Y, and Z, okay? We could also think about the candidates that we have on the CRM and the other people's network. So if we're portfolio side, are we reaching out to the candidates that are interviewed on the private equity side that have industrial, healthcare, whatever, tagging, reaching out to them and saying, look, wanted to reach out, I know you've spoken to people in the firm before, I actually work on the portfolio side of things. I wanted to say, look, as and when you come across superstars, what profiles would you be interested in hearing about? Bang, we already know who we are. Okay, and then we can do exactly the same with all candidates that are on the database for portfolio again, is why are we reaching out to the CEOs to see what C-suite executives they want for their portfolio companies. Bit difficult on the private equity side, but exactly the same applies. If we've got candidates that are already on the CRM, we can reach out to them and say, look, you're a principal, specialise in this space. I know that you work obviously in New York. As and when I come across superstars, what profiles would you be interested in hearing about? I know you've spoken to Halima before, I know you've spoken to Alex. I just wanted to reach out. I'm looking to win some new clients in that space. Got a really good set of profiles I'm happy to share with candidates, with some really talented individuals. As and when I come across profiles, what profiles would you be interested in hearing about for your firm? If they're at the right seniority level, that's what I was asking. Okay, so it's leveraging that conversation and it's getting comfortable with the uncomfortable. The first time that I asked you to do a candidate catch-up call, you shit yourself. The second time that you did a candidate catch-up call, you realised it wasn't as bad as the first one. You then understood what you were doing on the third one, and then the fourth, fifth, and everything else followed, and it became easier. Right? The first time I asked you to do a BD call, you shit yourself and you left a voicemail. Okay, the second time you left a voicemail, it was easy. The third time you prayed that it was always a voicemail, and the fourth time they answered the phone and you shit yourself. You then they answered the phone again and you shit yourself. It's all about the level of doing that makes something warmer and therefore becomes more comfortable. I was listening to a YouTube video yesterday by Jordan Peterson, and he was talking about the danger of course, the danger of technology, the danger of apps, and therefore reducing people's ability to be able to communicate. And his advice was, if you struggle with dating, is to go onto something like Tinder and get as many dates as you possibly can. It's not the same as going up in a bar and asking for a girl's number, and you lose that element, but use the technology that you have and getting comfortable to the point where you are more comfortable on dates. Your first date, you shit yourself, you fuck it up. Your second date, you shit yourself, you fuck it up. Your third, you're a bit better. Your fifth, you're a bit better. Once you've been on 20, you know how to talk to a woman. You understand what they want. You understand how it goes. You understand what you want, that you can be having a better conversation and thinking more about what you're saying than what the other person's saying. Sorry, you are then thinking about more about what the other person's saying than what you're thinking of what you're going to say next. Oh, I don't want to say something stupid. Oh yeah, I've been here, I've done this before. Yeah, fine. I'm listening to them. I'm not thinking about what I'm going to say. Oh, bloody hell, what question do I ask next? Oh, what do I want to know about it? Oh, what was in the 101 Guide to Dating? It's exactly the same with this getting uncomfortable, and that nature of it is once you are comfortable with it, you are making steps forward, strides forward, and it becomes normal. Whereas the uncomfortable nature disappears.